Hi, it's Jeff Allen here on the AI apps or AI solutions and ethics playlist. And I want to address a post that Laszlo Varga put up on LinkedIn just a couple of days ago. And Renato, you reposted it. And I thought this was a really interesting one to cover. It's about Laszlo, you've been testing this Chat GPT, and and like you said, that it depends on what the programming is, and if you're not if you're not used to programming, then it could kind of affect the results. And one of the key things you said at the very end was, or near the end was, why don't it would be better if we had a user manual, if we had a kind of a user manual or a guidebook, or those that want to kind of play with it, because you're the product, right? You're being tested, right? So, and that you would be willing to use that to be able to test and benchmark and kind of just play with these tools in a way, whatever that means. And I want to explain this is really hard to do, okay? Because it's AI, okay? I mean, it's machine learning. I mean, it's generative AI. So, I mean, I work with teams that do a lot of machine learning techniques. And the one thing and this is back even, I'll go back just just a few years ago. We went, our teams are going from statistical to neural based machine translation, but we were also working in AI in other teams. I'm not going to say what, because I don't want to reveal any teams or stuff, but it's known for we do publish stuff on the NMT, so we do talk about that. But I don't want to talk about the other teams, but in talking with those, some of the developers that are writing these algorithms, and they get the presentations, and they don't even know how it works, right? And I mean, this is all mathematical formulas they're doing. They're trying to do it, and even they don't know, cannot predict what it's going to do, because they don't know, right? It's guessing based on content that has been trained on, but it's guessing. And because it doesn't have social experience, social knowledge, and watch my video on why AI apps, AI solutions, there's lack of social knowledge, and it doesn't have that. So human beings, we can predict what they're going to think or say in general, because they're human beings. We've seen how they have done it in the past. Because they're social beings, they worked in conformism based kind of groups, right? So you can actually predict the way they're going to maybe act in general, not always, but it's easier to do it. This is really hard to do because there's no social knowledge. The social knowledge network isn't there. So it makes it really hard to determine how the thing is going to react. And there have been lots of times, like NMT has been a neural machine translation, a good example of this, where it makes it fluent, but it misses things, right? And there are inaccuracies. You can fix that, but by training it, right? But the thing is, it's going to continue to guess, and this is kind of a hard thing to be able to. It's hard to write a user manual on kind of what we call. I mean, it's not like you write scripted tests. This thing, right? Because the goal is to do generative AI. It's not to do tasks, right? The goal is not to do tasks for this thing. Specific tasks. If you had to do a specific one for every single one, and you can't do it. These are all user scenarios, okay? But the goal is to be able to guide you through doing this. Now, chat bots are a good example of what we've scripted. Okay, we are trying to use it, and what it can do with scripted approaches and tasks that retells a chat bot. Okay, and that's the result. So it's easy to test that, because it's scripted task, right? And that does this. But here, what's happening is we're letting people kind of use it to get the feedback, to figure out how people are using it. We can't know how they're going to use these AI apps without them using it. And it's hard to determine how people will use it to do something. This is a real challenge. And so what I'd say is, we won't have a user manual. I mean, I don't think we'll have a user manual. I don't think we'll have one, right? I think that we just have to continue to be tested, be the ones that kind of do these things, and then see, and then by doing that, with these teams, we'll figure out how the users are using it, right? So I got to plug my computer in at the same time here, losing the battery. And from that, we'll be able to see how users work with this and then make it so that they can do more. But I don't think, this is not intended to have a script. It's not intended to have a task. It could be used for anything, right? If we start getting down user scenario paths or use case paths, then we're gonna have to make so many of them and you got to just do it so it works for each one, and that's a lot. So I think this is we'll see if some of the development teams across these different types of apps start doing it, so you have certain kind of use cases, but I doubt that I doubt it'll go that way. I think it'll just continue to be this. Well, maybe it will in specific cases, but for overall, the goal is to have this cool thing that does things, and we wonder how it works, right? So we'll see. Again, this is just from my experience of doing it, and with teams, different types of teams to do it. But even the developers sometimes don't know why it does what it does, and that's the key. It's really hard to predict some of these things. So that's the thoughts for today. Thanks so much.